Hello everyone, Happy New Year. As we turn the calendar over to 2024, wanted to provide you with a quick market outlook for what we could see for this upcoming year. So first and foremost, as we look back to 2023 was one of the best years ever for the stock market. The Nasdaq was up almost 43% and the S&P 500 was up almost 24%. So this was in stark contrast to what many economists were predicting. So over 70% of economists, as we began 2023, were predicting that we would see a recession in that year due to the Federal Reserve's attack on inflation and higher interest rates. However, the artificial intelligence boom, as well as some of progress in the weight loss drugs, saw the stock market go on a rampant run, so much so that there was many places that you could put your money and still see a good return. Money market funds and treasury bills were paying around 5%, and most of the stocks were up in the index. So if you were to look at the Magnificent Seven stocks, which a lot of people are referring to, and these are mainly technology stocks that took place because of the AI boom that we saw, pulled the index higher. That makes up about 45% of the Russell 1000 index. And those Magnificent Seven stocks were able to carry the market for the year. Now, as we turn the page into 2024, many people are predicting that inflation will continue to come down or at least start to cool off. They're predicting lower growth within the US GDP number, and there's also the expectation of as many as 3 to 5 interest rate cuts for 2024. So if you're thinking that these are all great things for the market and these interest rate cuts are a great time to move money into stocks, you may have missed the boat a little bit, as we saw a great run up at the end of the year in 2023. So as the market sits, there's no real fat pitch out there, meaning a obvious investment idea, an obvious stock, somewhere where you could put your money into that is greatly underappreciated and could take off in value. However, there are some certain parts of the market that may be worth looking at and investing in. So one bullish sign for the stock market is that there's nearly $6 trillion that's sitting in money market funds. So as we start to see these interest rate decreases and the interest rates come down, that could lead investors to move money out of their money market funds and potentially into stocks. So here are 3 areas that you can look to invest in. Overall, as a whole, I would say that value stocks are still slightly undervalued. You could still look to deploy some capital into those value names, and most specifically, looking at the energy and financial sector. So gas prices, as many of you have been able to notice, are down pretty significantly. Oil costs are down. So if you're looking for income and high dividend paying stocks, looking at some of the energy names could be a good place to look. Financials and bank stocks saw a big hit towards the beginning of 2023 as we had the banking crisis. However, they recovered nicely as we closed out the back half of the year. If interest rates continue to go down, banks have tightened up their balance sheet and they look more stable than ever, especially some of these regional banks. Many of them are getting tighter on who they'll loan money to. So looking at some of the financial stocks and the banking name could be a good place to allocate some money to. And the third area to look at would be small caps. So the small cap index, as we approached November, was actually flat on the year. And then it had a great run up towards the end of the year. In a declining interest rate environment, these tend to be a good environment for small cap indexes and small cap stocks. And lastly, where do we see the S&P 500 target price for 2024? I think the stock market, the S&P, could close at around 4,900 points. So there's a quick outlook for 2024. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to leave those down below.